Hey, today I want to talk to you about why you should start writing online in 2026 and how it was, like how was my journey and what I have learned about it. Basically, it's like I have done a lot of money. Most of all, I have unlocked a lot of opportunity through to online writing over the last couple of years. And today I just want to share with you a couple of thoughts of why you should start actually doing it. It will help you immensely and throughout life, actually. So let's dive into it. So first of all, I would say like the big ROI on writing is actually like the ability for you to have a clearer communication, for you to become clearer at exposing your thoughts and putting your words together. And so basically, what happened to me, so I am from Portugal, Lisbon. I'm not a native English speaker, and yet over the last couple of years, I was able to make more than $300,000 either through contracting, digital products, online courses. I have raised capital as well for my own startup. I was able to fly myself to San Francisco and to meet a lot of people and build in Silicon Valley. And I was also able to build assets that started compounding over time. And so these only occurred because I started to expose myself by writing online. And so, I would say like this is perhaps the big thing is like in the span of 12 months, I went from a corporate job at Deloitte back then to raising capital and founding my own startup. So the catalyst wasn't code, it was writing. And I must say that yes, if you know how to code, that's great. But if you know how to code and writing, now you are able not only to build, but also to talk about it and to market your product. And so that's the perfect scenario. If you don't know how to code, at least learn how to write and how to create content, because effective writing is huge. And so, why is it that writing is such a powerful skill, let's say? So, writing basically allows you to give structure to ideas that are in your head or spread across different formats and different mediums, perhaps, and you can bring everything together and create a cohesive narrative that allows people to understand the message you are trying to convey, but also understand it in a very well structured and formatted way from which you can actually like call people to action. And so in my particular case, how did it all started? So I was working at Deloitte as a consultant here in Lisbon. And so with every single project, we had like daily chaos. Okay. So we had a lot of stuff going on, and then a whole week would have passed by. And that's when I decided to start writing a weekly memo to share with my managers and people above me. And basically, at the beginning, it was mostly for me that I was doing that. But eventually, over time, it became a very important asset for the whole team and for the structure above us from that project, because it allowed everyone to be on the same page and to have strategic clarity. And so, that's how it actually started for me. So the big insight here is like if you can provide clarity, you become indispensable, which means that if you are the person who can make sense of everything that is around you, no matter the degree, but if you can put things together into a cohesive and structured form, people will thank you. And yes, it's true that in big companies, nobody is actually indispensable, but at the same time, it's like it gives you a lot of leverage. You become the go-to person to talk about a certain aspect of the project or the person who actually has a holistic view of the project, because now you gotta have it for you to write that memo, which is something that everybody likes, okay? And so, on top of that, so after starting to write these weekly memos at Deloitte back then, I started doing another thing. And that thing was documenting my journey in public. And this is perhaps one of the most, like, the highest leverage ways that you can start creating content. So a lot of people start to create content like by having the effort to sit down and write about something like a book or a podcast or an article they have read, something they have learned. And all of that is about creating. It demands and requires a lot of effort, both from like having the idea and executing and creating the content about that idea. Another approach is to document your journey, document whatever you are building, whatever goal you are pursuing. And so in my particular case, I just started back in September 2021. I started to share my thoughts on Twitter and documenting my professional journey. So basically, like, it wasn't thought leadership. It was not about like, look at me because I have all these answers. It was more like, look at me as I am trying to answer a lot of questions. Okay, so I knew I wanted something different for me, for my future, and so I started to create content and document my journey while I was walking the path, while I was looking for new options, more options, whatever the world would bring me. And until the moment I got to an inflection point. And the inflection point was in March when I had already built an audience on Twitter. And so I started to realize, like, okay, now I have attention. Now I have a lot of people who actually trust me, my content, my thinking, the way on how I see the world. And so that was when I started to put together like an online community and digital products and started to think about building my own startup and then to raise capital and all of that. Until that came the moment when I made actually the transition after generating some revenue from my own writing and all the effort I had put into. And so the big insight about documenting the journey is that the simple fact that a skill like writing allowed me to unlock so much value for others, it was actually like a big breakthrough, like, at least to me. I studied, and then I started working, and everybody was like, yeah, to create value, you got to grind your way up in the corporate ladder. But suddenly there I was making money out of a skill that, while I was not an expert, I was at least able to generate enough value for people who were willing to pay me for services. And so, yes, I started to writing for others. I raised capital for my startup. So I've done a lot through and from writing online. And so I think like this is the biggest lesson. The big lesson is like, when you start exposing yourself, when you start exposing the way on how you think, the topics you care about, whatever you are learning, the person you are becoming, the journey you are going after, when you start exposing yourself to the world starts noticing you. If you are consistent, if you increase quality over time, if you just keep pushing it, the world starts noticing and you start attracting like-minded people. Either people who resonate with you, either people who admire your work, either people who get inspired from you, either people who think exactly like you think or have some opinions who are very similar to yours, or even people who completely disagree with you. And so in my particular case, the big step was I was working at Deloitte, and then I started having and finding a couple of gigs, one of which was Odyssey DAO. So Odyssey DAO, it was a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, completely online, fully remote. And we were building a community and a product, an educational product and platform to help other people to learn about crypto and Web3 and the decentralized economy and all of that. And so basically I was able to leave Deloitte, start making some money here and there. And at the same time, my content was seen. So it signaled people who were already trying to build Odyssey that I was the right person for them to invite me as their growth lead to help them grow their Twitter audience, their newsletter, their website traffic and all of that through content. Okay. And so, yes, the key takeaway about this one is like writing actually acts as a signal, and it allows you to reach global markets, like no matter where you are. I have worked with people from Nigeria, from India, from South Africa, Argentina, Peru, across Europe, from China and Thailand and Philippines. Like I have worked with people across the globe, and what kept us together has always been the form of writing, like writing, exposing our thoughts, our ideas, aligning under one single message. That's what kept us all together and working together. So yes. Another thing that I was also able to do and achieve with my writing was, and this is just to illustrate how you can actually like tap into global markets. So there I was in Lisbon writing a bunch on Twitter and creating a lot of content and engaging with people and having conversations and all of that, until a moment that I was able to attract an individual investor. In this particular case, it was someone who resonated with my journey, who decided to take a bet on me, and so he invested in me, and that was like enough for me to keep moving forward, to get enough confidence, enough conviction on what I was trying to do and achieve to just move forward. And having people and finding, attracting those like-minded people and even people who are willing to put their money in you, like that is huge, okay? And so what ended up happening was like I was able to attract one first individual investor, and then a second one, and then a third one. And then that led me to Silicon Valley and San Francisco, where I was able to spend a lot of time meeting a lot of founders and investors and VCs to try to build my startup. And so, yeah, if you think well and communicate well, you will eventually attract people you need and care, like-minded people. And the biggest outcome, I would say, like this is actually like the best thing that happened to me. It was like the startup failed. Yes, as most startups out there, it failed ultimately. But the skill, writing, being able to be articulate, being able to communicate clearly, being able to put together words and structure narratives and influence messages with storytelling and all of that, those skills, they last. And for the last couple of months and years that I have been writing for founders and VCs and leaders and execs who want to actually have a voice. They want to build an audience, they want to create their own content and be perceived as thought leaders in their space. And the skill that I have learned back then, I keep using it. And to this day, like writing is an asset that belongs to you, in this case to me, not to your employer, not to any project you may have. It actually belongs to you. And so the best thing as well about writing is that writing is actually like, I think, the highest leverage meta skill you can find out there. Okay, because the ability for you to write and write well, first of all, like writing well means that you think well, okay? Being able to articulate your thoughts, convene a message, take people to take an action according to what you actually want. That per se is huge. So that's a huge skill already. But the best part about writing is that writing sits beneath every other sort of format of content, from podcasts to long form content, books, you name it, like video, email, like newsletters, sales, even like nowadays with AI, evals are made with writing. And so, yeah, like writing is the single highest leverage skill, meta skill you can learn. And once you learned it, it is yours for you to do whatever you want with it. And so, yeah, improve your writing and you will improve the ability to execute in any other medium, okay? Other than that is just like speaking to a camera, talking to a microphone, thinking about like more about copywriting if you want to convert people, or storytelling if you want to take people in for like through a journey while reading whatever you have put together. And the best part of all of this, and this is like one of the concepts that I'm most passionate about, is leverage. And so the economics of leverage when it comes to content and writing is that You write once, you build an asset, a content asset once, and then like it can be reproduced thousands or millions of thousands of times. Okay, once you have wrote something and put something into words, now you are able to share with others, and people can also share with others, and that creates like this scale of like this huge network that you can actually influence, and so it becomes exponential, the impact that writing and creating these sort of like digital first assets. But not only your digital first, like if you write a book, now you can sell books for years to come, and you can keep updating it with new ideas, whatever. You know what I get, what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, I would say like the best thing is like the input is like you write once, the output is like millions of people can actually read it. Back with my Twitter audience and my Twitter journey, my content in less than 6 months, it reached almost 10 million people. 10 million people read something that I have written on my bedroom, in my bedroom in Lisbon, okay? And so, yeah, that just for you to have an idea. And so, yes, it does compound, it has an exponential effect, and it's great actually for you to be able to create something once and then to just keep moving with it. And in my particular case, because like perhaps it's not your particular case, but in my particular case, I am a non-native English speaker. And I just bring this slide here because I do think it's super important. Like the whole internet is like, I would say like if you want to build an audience, you know that English is the language for you to go. Okay, big audiences, global businesses, they all speak in English. English is the language of business. Period. But the biggest advantage for a non-native English speaker in my particular case, I would say like it allows you to have a simpler way of putting words. It becomes easier to read your content because you don't have many words that you can choose from. So you try to simplify your message. And by simplifying your message, it actually becomes being easier to be shared. And so, yes, it won't be easy. It won't be easy at first, second or fifth try, but at least as long as you keep trying, you will be able to improve your craft. And so in the end, you'll be able to not only build an audience, but master a skill based on a language that isn't yours, but it is at the same time the language that global businesses speak. And now, congratulations, you are able to speak that language in a structured way. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And so just to wrap up here, so if you want to start to create content, and I truly think that you should start creating content and writing most of all in 2026. Like this is a year that AI is out there. It can help you already with structuring your thoughts, coming up with like clear thinking and clear writing, and then it's just about editing and finding good ideas that you can create content about and or write about. And so what I would say is like, okay, you still work at your corporate job or your full-time job, just do something like I have done myself. Start writing a weekly memo, share it with with people in your hierarchy, and trust me, it will help you. Immediately after, instead of like trying to create and like listening to podcasts or reading books and trying to summarize those, that's a lot of work. Just try to share what you think, share your own ideas, and try to document your journey. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What are you trying to achieve? Where do you want to go? And try to bring those to light, shed light into the journey that you are going through. After that, the third is like seek leverage. So at the beginning, after starting to write, I started to have a lot of like one-on-one conversations online by scheduling like Zoom calls with people who would DM me. And eventually I started to understand like a lot of different pain points, but they were mostly saying the same. And so just sum up everything and go from talking to one-on-one with people to write about those pain points, and that way you'll be able to serve a much broader audience and community. And the last one is like embrace the friction. Okay, so just use the fact that you are not a native English speaker to simplify your communication, to make it easier for people to understand. Use analogies just as you use with yourself to try to understand what other people may be trying to tell you or teach you. And so, trust me, that will be a huge advantage. At the beginning, it will be a struggle, but after a couple of tries and after a couple of like exercise at writing, you will notice that you will build that muscle by doing the reps. You will develop that muscle, and eventually you will become a very well thought communicator, and you will become very articulate, and you will be able to put together your words and thoughts and convey a message to a broader audience. And so, yeah, writing aligns people, and alignment creates opportunity. And this is like a very, very important sentence that you should have, is that the moment you put something into writing, now you can share with people. And that alone is great for you to get alignment on something. And after you get alignment, you'll be able to attract like-minded people, which then will create opportunities. Okay, so yeah. So if you want to change your life, not necessarily like change your life out of the blue, it gives a lot of work. But at the same time, like if you want to have a different 2026, if you actually want to go after your dreams and build a sort of life that you are proud of, and go after bigger opportunities and dream bigger and compete at some of the best markets out there and have a global presence and a global audience, then you should start writing. Okay, you should start writing. Start with Twitter, for example, or X nowadays, and start with like short form Twitters or tweets in this case, and then try to evolve into like long form tweets, which they were called like Twitter threads. Nowadays, you have Twitter articles as well, and then move into long form writing where you can actually like deconstruct complex ideas, complex thoughts, link thoughts together and things together, so that you can actually create value for others. Okay, so if it is your first time here, subscribe to the channel as I'm bringing more content like this. I'm Ben, and I'm shooting this from Lisbon. See you.